In 1988, a small Wall Street team started a company with one simple idea: understand risk better than everyone else. That company was BLACKROck. Dun dun dun. At the time, it was not just another finance firm. Today, it sits inside retirement accounts, ETFs, pension funds, bond markets, central bank programs, and corporate boardrooms. It manages so much money that it doesn't feel like a company anymore. It feels like part of the system itself. And that raises a real question here, folks. How did BLACKROck get so powerful? Well, let me tell you, it was not by inventing something flashy, not by becoming a consumer brand, not by dominating headlines. BLACKROck got powerful by becoming essential in the parts of finance most people never look at. Not at the casino, the wiring behind the casino. And ladies and gentlemen, it all started with one simple mistake. The story starts with Larry Fink. Before BLACKROck, he worked at First Boston and helped build the mortgage-backed securities business. He was a rising star. Then one bad call reportedly cost the firm around $100 million, and that single loss changed everything. Most people would learn, don't mess up again. Fink learned something bigger: never be blind to risk again. So in 1988, he and his partners launched a new firm. Their edge was not hype, it was discipline. BLACKROck focused on bonds, fixed income, and risk management. The boring parts of finance that became very exciting when everything falls apart. And that was the point. Anybody can look smart in a boom. The people who understand the risk and survive when the boom ends, boy, those are the real winners. BLACKROck grew because it understood what big institutions actually wanted. Pension funds were not looking for excitement, insurance companies were not looking for a genius, and governments were definitely not looking for a cowboy. They wanted someone who would not blow them up. That made BLACKROck valuable. It became the kind of firm large institutions felt safe handing billions to. And once that happens, growth compounds fast. More money gives you more scale gives you lower costs attracts more clients, and more clients brings in even more money. BLACKROck wasn't just a winning business, it was becoming the safe default. Not stop there, this is where they became different. Because it didn't just manage money, it built Aladdin. Aladdin is BLACKROCK's risk software platform. It helps major institutions analyze portfolios, model scenarios, monitor exposures, and understand where and why they're valuable. That matters because it turned BLACKROCK into more than an asset manager. Now it wasn't just investing money, it was helping other powerful institutions understand their money too. That is a much deeper type of influence. It's one thing to manage assets, it's another to become the dashboard everyone checks before making decisions. It made BLACKROCK part of the control room of almost every single major company. That's what Aladdin did. However, then 2008 come, the financial system blew up, mortgage securities collapsed, Liam fell, banks panicked, nobody knew what the toxic assets were really worth. This was BLACKROCK's moment, because while other firms were drowning in the chaos, BLACKROCK had spent years building expertise in exactly the kind of assets now causing the meltdown. So when the US government and Federal Reserve needed help sorting through the damage, BLACKROCK got the big call, and that changed its status. At that point, BLACKROCK was no longer just another Wall Street firm. It had become one of the most trusted institutions in the world of banking itself, and crisis credibility is one of the fastest ways to gain permanent power. That deal changed everything. BLACKROCK made the move that turned into a giant. In 2009, it acquired Barclays Global Investors. Then passive investing took over. This is where BLACKROCK's power really accelerated. As more investors moved away from expensive active funds and into low-cost index funds and ETFs, trillions of dollars started flowing towards passive investing, and BLACKROCK was sitting right in the middle of the flow. That created a brutal advantage. More assets meant lower fees attracted more investors bought in more assets. At a certain point, BLACKROCK stopped looking like a successful firm and started looking like gravity. It wasn't winning one client at a time anymore, it was riding a structural shift in how the entire world invested. And now folks, here's where things get uncomfortable, because when you manage trillions of dollars across thousands of companies, you end up owning a large stakes in a huge part of the economy. Not because BLACKROCK is trying to take over the world, because index funds buy the market, and if you buy the market at a massive scale, you end up everywhere. That gives BLACKROCK enormous voting power in board elections, executive pay, governance fights, shareholder proposals. It doesn't mean Larry Fink controls every company, but it does mean BLACKROCK's voice carries serious weight in every single company. When one firm sits at the center of so much capital, influence becomes automatic. Not dramatic influence, structural influence, real power. So now let's answer, how did BLACKROCK really get so powerful? It stacked advantages. First, it built credibility and risk, then it earned trust from major institutions, then it built the software they developed on, then it gained crisis credibility in 2008, then they bought iShares, then it rode the passive income investing boom, then its scale turned into influence. That's it. Pretty simple, right? No magic trick, no one genius move, no dramatic takeover. BlackRock became powerful by making itself useful in the most boring, essential parts of finance. Risk management, index funds, institutional trust, and financial infrastructure. That's why people missed it, because BlackRock's greatest advantage was it looked boring. And in finance, the boring stuff is usually what runs the world. BlackRock didn't win by being the loudest firm on Wall Street. It won by becoming the firm too much of Wall Street quietly depended on.
And that's a wrap. If you guys like this video, please subscribe, as me and my animators do everything by hand. There's no AI that we ever use. And if you guys can please drop a subscribe, that means the world. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.